one. All right, so Dr. Yi is going to take us through the history of ASAM and APARC collaboration.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Tia. And that was a great introduction. It's so nice to see all of you. I wanted to share some of our history. That's what I was asked to do today because there's another hat that I've held. And years ago, when APARC was just in our imagination at Cal State Fullerton, I was the chair of the committee that established the vision and mission for, at that time, it was called the Asian American Pacific Islander Community Resource Center. And so that acronym was really long, AAPI-CRC, and it was eventually shortened to APARC. So let me explain. There's two bits of information I'd like to share, which is part of our history at Cal State Fullerton, and we're really proud of it. So on the left column, I'm not going to go into all the details, but I want to let you know that APARC's development and what it is today has evolved from decades of people working together in community. And it's this spirit of people who came before me, because I came to Cal State Fullerton in 2007, and then took on some work to bring people together to establish the vision and mission, and then it's been carried forward. So I'll explain a little bit of that. And then the second thing is I'll talk about how APARC works presently with Asian American Studies, with APIFSA, with our community partners, in trying to make sure that we have a really robust and healthy community. It's very difficult now during the pandemic, but this is the model that we aspire to. So first of all, way back in the 1990s, what we had in existence was we didn't have an Asian American Studies department or program at the time. We actually had what is called an Asian American Pacific Islander Faculty Staff Association. And that was established by both people who were in student affairs as well as who were in academic affairs. And people thought, we really need to begin to have a department. There was the Department of Chicano and Chicano Studies and the Department of African American and Native American Studies, but they didn't have a Department of Asian American Studies. So APIFSA is the first organization, and they got together and they said, we want to start offering classes. And that's how the Asian American Studies program began. In 1996, we actually had the first student declare a minor in Asian American Studies, and that was super exciting. So gradually, Asian American Studies started to hire faculty, and in the 2000s, moving forward, so now we have APIFSA, we have ASAM, which is the green portion on the partnership model. But all during this time, we also had faculty and staff and administrators saying, we'd really like a center that helps to support our students and also connects us with the community. Because, we're not just being part of the university, we're also about being part of the community. And so what happened is they decided to formulate a conference back in 2006. And at that conference, we drew everybody from the community university to think, what kind of vision do we have? When I came on board in 2007, they asked if I could help to bring people together. And so we had a committee that worked for 2 to 3 years on looking at the vision and mission of APARC. Once we had that vision and mission, we were able to go to the university and say, we need some space. And that, if you don't realize it at Cal State Fullerton, space is at a premium. And so just to get space, we got our first space for APARC in University Hall, which is what Gordon Hall now is. It's formerly University Hall on the second floor. We got 2 different rooms plus an office space. And with that, we were able to very gradually hire student assistants. Now, something you should know is that APARC did not always exist in student affairs. It actually existed in academic affairs first in our College of Humanities and Social Sciences. And so we worked in tandem with student affairs. We've always worked in partnership, and we've tried very much to hire students who came from Asian American Studies, who understood the history of what we're trying to do in the community, as well as students who are involved and interested. They didn't have to take Asian American Studies classes, but really wanted to help the community. So fast forward to 2013, we had the establishment of DIRC, which is our Diversity Initiatives and Resource Centers. And with the establishment of DIRC, there began to have conversations that perhaps we should take all of our centers and moved them into student affairs, because this could really help to centralize all of our resources, make sure that all of the students could have access to all of these really wonderful resource centers. And so that's when we began to have the conversation of hiring our first coordinator. His name was Jacob Chaco, and we were able to bring Jacob on board in 2016. Jacob really helped to build up APARC, one of the major accomplishments, not only in terms of programs, but also the movement from Gordon Hall to now the current space in Pollock Library. And you can see that we now have all of the centers together, and the students, everybody can access all of our wonderful centers together. Jacob departed, and when he did, we were also able to have a new search, and that's what enabled us to bring Tia on board. And so we're so excited to welcome Tia. So that's our basic history of the collaboration, and that brings us to our partnership model. Again, it's really difficult to do this while we're not in person, but really, we try to really work very much together with APIFSA, with the Department of Asian American Studies, with APARC, and with our community partners to serve students not only on campus, but also off campus. So for example, we try to work on recruiting students to campus, making sure people know that there's a home for them. In APARC, it's the home away from home. That's what we imagined. That was in the vision and mission statement, that language. Not only that, but we also try to make sure that students know that there are classes for people to learn about history as well as identities, maybe perhaps to do internships with our community partners, also to work with APIFSA to provide scholarships. So there's just a roundabout partnership model that we currently have. And we're so pleased that with Tia coming on board, that she's so interested and willing to continue this partnership model with us. So that's my part.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm super excited to continue APARC's legacy and continuing this partnership. So for our next slide, we have Minji that's going to talk about the ASAM Alumni Mentorship Program.
Hello again, everyone. So again, my name is Minji. My pronouns are she, they, and I am an alum with Asian American Studies. And so this semester I'm back and I'm here to really work with the department and this semester to complement the formal major advising that the Department of Asian American Studies provides for its students. I will also be facilitating a few virtual spaces throughout the semester. And so this little series is going to be called ASAM Advice. And essentially, these are spaces that I will host on Zoom, and students are free to join whenever. During those sessions, of course, and ask general advising sessions that are related to Asian American Studies, like what are major or minor requirements, or what remaining requirements do I have to fulfill to like have an Asian major or minor. And I can also use that space to really facilitate and host discussions on a variety of topics, such as like how, you know, Asian American Studies might personally relate to like a student's professional, academic, and I guess personal life and so on. And so I just wanted to share that in this space here. On the right side of the slide, you're going to see a few dates and times that we have already established. Beyond these dates and times, we will have a few more available in April, and that will be shared later on down the line. But we scheduled these meetings so that we will also have a faculty major advisor available for an hour during each of those sessions. So not only will you be able to like use that kind of group advising space to get some general advising questions answered, you could kind of feed two birds with one stone and like chat with me, and also maybe if you're there to officially like declare your major or minor or get like some TDA checkups, a faculty major advisor will be there for the second hour of each of these sessions. And that's pretty much what I had to share. Our flyer with all the information, like the Zoom information, all the dates and times, and descriptions of what this is all about. That flyer should be coming out very soon. We're just finalizing a few things. And as soon as that's released, we will definitely share with APARC. So APARC could share with you all and on its social media platforms and everything. So yeah, so looking forward to hopefully seeing some of you again in ASAM Advice.
Thank you so much for that. All right, so next we have our Q&A session with Dr. Yi, Minji, and Phoebe. So anybody can jump in, our panelists can jump in for any of these questions. So the first one is, why should students consider taking ASAM classes or thinking about majoring or minoring in ASAM?
I could kind of start us off, and I'll take it back to when I was a student at Cal State Fullerton, and I kind of stumbled across Asian American Studies through GE requirements, and I honestly falling into it, I fell in love with the course material and content. It was nothing like I'd ever seen before, and the communities that are so close to me, I felt so seen through academia, and I wanted to take more of these courses. And also the thing that really got me is that a minor in Asian American Studies is only like about 6 courses. Obviously there's like 6 specific courses, but that kind of got me. And then when I fulfilled the minor, I was like, oh, the major is only 6 more courses. Might as well just do that. And so I also felt that like an Asia major or minor was very doable in conjunction with like the other major I had declared, which was psychology, as it wasn't super unit intensive. So students should consider taking ASAM courses because like the content is just something that I like realized like I've been like really craving through academia, and it's very doable, especially like if you're able to map it out into your future semesters and your other like coursework isn't super unit intensive. It's very manageable, and so yeah.
I can go next.
Okay.
So I'm a current student, and like Minji, I stumbled across ASAM through looking at GE requirements. And although I'm not an ASAM major, I am considering picking up a minor in ASAM since it is only 6 more courses. And the curriculum is really validating in the world of academia when it's so Western centric, and I also felt very seen and very heard. So I highly recommend at least trying it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So what are the career opportunities for majoring in ASAM? Does the department offer any career planning?
Yeah, I can take that. And I think I'll tie it along with taking Asian American Studies classes as well. I think that in terms of taking Asian American Studies classes, one of the things that we often tell students is that let's say that you start taking Asian American Studies classes to satisfy general education, which is fantastic. The classes that you take can double count for the major. So you can have already completed certain requirements for the minor or the major while taking the GE. And I consider that to be a really valid exploration of your academic journey. But I think also Asian American Studies help with knowing yourself. And this relates to the career opportunities, because one of the things that we notice that a lot of students ask themselves is, you know, why do I want to study what I want to study, and what do I value and feed myself in order to be able to do the work that I will be doing in the future? And a lot of our Asian American Studies classes are not just about learning about history or learning about issues, but they also are about helping students to connect those to their everyday lives, whether it's themselves personally or whether it's people that they know, or friends, or just the community in general. So in terms of career opportunities, we actually have quite a number of students who've gone into many different areas. And the reason why I say that Asian American Studies is a great major or minor, it helps to really complement what people's interests are. So for example, we have students who are working in a lot of the human services. There's people who've gone into social work. They've gone into law. We've had students go into business, go into banking. We've had students go into working with nonprofit organizations, teaching, also higher education, administration, and leadership. We've had people go into public health. They've been working as community educators. They're working as kinesiologists, as coaches. So we have a wide variety. And the reason why our program and our major and minor are so helpful is because our students have told us that it really helps to teach them the ways to interact with people of diverse backgrounds, to offer that kind of respect, to understand that where you're coming from, it's really unique, and it helps them to really interact with all kinds of folks that they are working with on a daily basis. In addition, in terms of offering some career planning, we do have an opportunity to talk about some of those kinds of conversations in individual advising sessions. And then we also have connections with our career services office. And what we do is we make recommendations for students who have specific questions to work with our career services advisors but also to talk with us about directions that they may wish to take.
Thank you. And then in the chat, Danielle says, as an ASAM minor, I can also say that the classes are great and really brought a positive impact on my academic journey. So very positive things. So for the third question, what are some things that ASAM has done to help the Asian American community here at Cal State Fullerton?
I can answer that too. And Minji and Phoebe, if you want to join in from your perspectives. I think one of the things that Asian American Studies has done, we have 5 different faculty, full-time faculty, and then we also have 8 to 10 part-time faculty teaching with us on a semester by semester basis. And our faculty have purposely been hired to be interdisciplinary, which means that we have a specialist in history, a specialist in ethnic studies, someone who specializes in public health, the arts and literature, someone else does urban planning and American studies, and my background and my specialty is education and organizational change. And so what we've done for Cal State Fullerton is we've helped to bring our expertise to develop the community. So for example, bringing about APARC is something that all of our faculty were a part of. Even though I chaired that committee, every single faculty member was on this committee. And what we've tried to do is to create connections, not just on campus, but also off campus, so that when our students come to us and say, gosh, Jen, I'm really interested in one thing or another, we might say, whom do we know that we could potentially connect you with? Or maybe we can chat with someone who knows someone. So we try to make connections with our students, as well as we really try to address structural issues for justice and equity on campus. We do know that many of our students of APITA descent have not had resources accessible to them. So we also try to be advocates in that way.
I think that you covered it really well, and I also super appreciated how you tied in not only the APITA community here on campus, but also like partnerships with like off-campus organizations. I thought that was also really key. So no, I feel like that's good. Thank you for sharing.
All right, so next question. What kind of academic opportunities like research, writing, or field trips are available for students?
I can share about AAAS, Jen? Okay, so one opportunity that comes to mind is AAAS, and that stands for Association for Asian American Studies. And that's a national conference that really is a space for professionals, researchers, undergrad, grad students, like a wide variety of individuals in the fields of Asian American Studies. But then also Asian American Studies itself is a very interdisciplinary field. So that means you'll see like individuals who might be there like specializing in sociology and lots of other like really closely related fields to Asian American Studies. But it's a place where all these people can come together, and it's a conference. So you have presentations, discussions, workshops. And in the past several years, when everything was kind of done in person, the department here at Asian American Studies would take a team of students to this conference, and often we would present like kind of like a roundtable discussion, or we would facilitate something like that at these conferences. And so personally, I've been able to go to 2 or 3. I can't remember if that third one was canceled because of everything that was happening. But it's been like an incredibly enriching experience because I get to meet other undergraduate students, or when I was an undergrad student, I got to meet other undergraduate students in like different journeys of their like Asian American Studies like paths. And it was really, it's always a very humbling and also like enlightening experience, just getting to like access like pockets of information and connections that I wouldn't necessarily just have like here at Cal State Fullerton, which Cal State Fullerton offers great things too, but getting to meet people from across the country through like a conference that my department is like taking me on, it was always a great experience. And that is most likely something that students can look forward to once things are better manageable and maybe return to in-person activities. But that's an opportunity that students might look forward to or be interested in.
Thanks, Minji. I'm just going to add very briefly that for majors, there are required classes. One class is a research and writing class, another is a senior capstone class. And then this past semester, our department just piloted a cohort independent study class where students were able to develop their own individual projects. And those projects included students creating a collection of poetry that they then presented to the class, others doing self-research, trying to have narratives of LGBTQ folks coming more to light. And it was just really exciting. And so we're trying to do some new things in our department with our classes to give students an opportunity to explore their own research and writing interests.
Awesome, thank you for that. And then last question for this slide is, what type of internships are available to students?
I can share a little bit about that. So beyond the roles that I have in the space that I've shared about already, like one of the co-founders of SAAS and an alum working with the department to provide kind of general advising spaces, I also work with a local nonprofit community-based organization called ADI Center. And I got connected to this organization because of internships I'd heard of through the department. So at the moment, I'm not able to name specific internships from specific organizations, but I can say when all of these local community partners who have relationships to the department have opportunities like internships and events that they could volunteer at, they often do reach out to the department, and the department is often then able to share with students like me when I was a student, and we're able to take advantage of opportunities like that. But there are a lot of community-based internships that take place. And I can actually for sure say that ADI Center will be providing a summer fellowship later this year. So we can also forward that information to APARC and the Department of Asian American Studies. But yeah, there are a lot of community-based organizing internships available to students.
Thank you so much for sharing. All right, so for our next slide, we're going to talk about SAAS, and can you tell us a little bit about SAAS?
SAAS is the Student Association for Asian American Studies, and it was co-founded in, I believe, the spring of 2019. Minji can correct me on that. We support the growth and development of the academic, personal, and professional lives of students in the ASAM department, and honestly, anybody who is interested in Asian American studies in general.
So I can share a little bit about why the other founding members and I came together to start SAAS as an organization, a student organization here on campus. It was actually something that a lot of people had wanted, but it just took a lot of people power to do that, and we were never able to coordinate until that moment. But for me personally, I was inspired by actually one of these AAAS conference trips that I went on. But when I went there and I saw students organizing to have kind of a community that represents our voice from all around the country. I kind of wanted something like that here on campus, something where students can build community amongst each other, within the department, because at this time I was a major, and I had a hard time finding other students who were minoring and majoring in Asian American studies, and I really wanted to find that community. And so we wanted to start SAAS so that students of the department know, hey, here we are, if you want to get to know us too. And we wanted to hopefully in the future take it on into doing local field trips, historical tours all throughout Orange County, or working closely with some of these nonprofits that I kind of mentioned before from the internships, and organizing together on and off campus and just doing things together. We just really wanted to build community and be able to organize together from there. And so grateful that SAAS is still here today, providing academic, professional, and personal resources for its students.
So the next question is, what kind of services and resources does SAAS offer?
So SAAS offers peer advising. We also offer connections to alumni and networking with communities outside of Fullerton. One of our biggest things is we offer a safe space to learn and grow academically and professionally and personally.
Thank you. So what is SAS plans for the spring semester?
Virus and everything. We are planning on opening a SAS Discord like many other majors have, and it's going to be a Discord for those interested in Asian American Studies, and it's not necessarily you have to be an Asian American Studies major or minor. It's for anyone who's interested at all. And we are also implementing SAS study sessions because those are really popular last semester, and we are planning to meet more frequently as well. And lastly, one program we have planned already is our Valentine's program, which will be on the 18th this semester, or on the 18th of this month. So please look forward to that. And we're going to be talking about the love languages through the scope of various Asian American experiences. So we're really excited about that.
Awesome. Thank you. So do you have any words for students who might want to join but hesitant or shy?
My biggest words are, I was there too, because I was terrified because I don't know if I've mentioned, but I'm in the process of thinking on picking up an Asian American minor, but other than that, I'm not officially affiliated with Asian American Studies. But I took one class with Professor Liano and I fell in love. And then I ended up meeting Minji and Tracy and V and everybody who was involved in SAS. And it's scary, but I promise you it is the safest space. We are here to help you grow. And it's going to be uncomfortable at first because trust me, I was so uncomfortable, but the way that SAS and ASAM has opened my eyes, it really has changed me for the better. And I highly encourage you, just take it a baby step. Just maybe show up, maybe follow our Instagram. It doesn't have to be some big grandiose gesture like stepping up to be president like I did.
Yeah. So last question, are there any openings or opportunities for students that would like to help SAS?
My biggest recommendation is to look at our Instagram, kind of learn what we're about. As I mentioned before, we do have the program coming up, and in addition to that, we have our SAS Discord. We will probably be looking for people to help with moderating that as well. And if you are really dedicated and you really want to help, please reach out to the SAS Instagram or the email. I will put it in the chat, and we can have a conversation on what space you can have in SAS, because I promise you there is a space for you here.